So this is one of the wheels that you're going to make. You're going to make two of these wheels. The wheel has the 3 screws in it, the axle, and the gear, and it's all put together. So you're going to make 2 of these for your robot. Let's see how it's put together. Time to put together the sub-assembly of the wheel. What you're going to need is a big gear, 3 of the 1-inch screws with a flat end on them, and 1 of the axles. You're going to do this twice. Oh, you're also going to need 1 of the wheels that came in your kit. They're blue or yellow or maybe some other color. Now you want to be careful when you're putting this together. You want to be careful where the screws are going to go. I guess I'll need to talk about that in a minute. What you're going to do is you're going to take the axle and you're going to put it in to the center of the wheel, and then you need to hammer it down a little bit and make sure it's nice and firm. So I'll put it down here, just hammer it down. Not too hard. You don't want to go through the back side of this, but firmly. So now when I wiggle it, the axle's not wiggling anywhere else. Next thing you want to do is take one of the gears and put it on top of the axle that you have. When you put it on top of the axle, you want to make sure that when you're pushing it, you don't put your hand behind the gear when you're pushing it, because then what'll happen is the post can go through the gear and then into your hand. It helps if you kind of twist it as you put it on, pushing it down. It's going to take a bit of force to get it through there. So now you can see more clearly why you don't want to put your hand over here. Alright, so I'm going to push it down. Now, what I'm going to need to do next is I need to line up the holes. So I've got these holes underneath and the holes on top. I need to line them up. But I got to be careful when I'm doing this. I don't want to put my screws here in one of these big holes. I want to put it in one of the smaller ones. One of those smaller holes. Because the big ones, they won't thread, and they won't hold it. So I'm going to line them up here, put it down, line up the small holes. And be careful, because some of these holes will line up with the big, and the other ones in between will line up with the small ones. So I'm going to try to line them up. Then I'll take my screw, and I'm going to push it in here. And with the screwdriver, I'm going to screw it in place. Now when I screw it down, I'm not going to screw it all down. I'm going to put 3 screws in. I'm going to screw them down so they're touching the plastic but not in the plastic. And then I'll show you what to do next. So at this point, I've got my screws put in here. And you can see they're a little bit above the edge of the gear itself. So they're not quite into the plastic yet. They're just touching the plastic. Now what I need to do is to finish tightening them down. I'm going to tighten them down so they go through to the back side of the plastic. They're not quite there yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through here and I'm going to make a couple turns on each screw so that my gear goes down evenly onto my wheel. Just work my way around. So that's about 2 turns on that screw, 2 turns on the second, about 2 turns on the third. So it's just about down. Now my screws are right next to the gear. And if I've got this right, what you're seeing is that the gear is lining up right flat with the wheel. You want to make sure that the gear doesn't go crooked, but it goes parallel to the edge of the wheel. Let's see. So you can see it's parallel to the edge of the wheel, not crooked. And that's what you're after.